Today, I'm going to show you how you can create a crew without any code in a brand new product from CrewAI. I'm going to show you how you can plan, build, deploy, monitor, and iterate over your crews using this product. And I'll go over its best feature called Crew Studio, where you can actually build a crew just from talking to an assistant. Let me show you all about CrewAI Enterprise. So here it is, CrewAI Enterprise. What this basically does is it allows you to integrate so many applications. I mean, here's some of them, right? Zoom, Notion, HubSpot, Salesforce, MailChimp, if you've heard of that. Zapier is a big one. It allows you to use these integrations easily into your CrewAI or your crew because it can create that for you. It's going to help you plan, build, deploy, monitor, and iterate over your crews, which I will show you here soon. And if you're kind of on the fence about CrewAI, I just want to show you that Andrew Ng has invested in them. So if that doesn't tell you enough, I'm not sure what will. Okay, so what's going to happen is on here you can start your free enterprise trial. Now I got into it because the week that they had, the CrewAI week, anybody that signed up during that week, you could at least get access to the basic version of this. You know, you don't pay for it, but you get to see all of the products or features that are in this product. So what you need to do is start a free enterprise trial. You go through the screening, and once you've done that, they'll say thank you, and a person of the team will be in touch soon. And this could take a varying amount of time, but just be patient and you will get your turn to try this amazing product out. So here's what my screen looks like after I logged in. You know, I've tried this a couple times already. Here is how this works. We first have, on the sidebar here, these are all the crews, well, just two, that I have deployed right now that I could run and it will return a result of whatever it's doing. The first thing I want to show you is the Crew Studio. So if you go down to Crew Studio on the left-hand side of the sidebar, basically what it's going to do is allow you to just run or create any crew based on what I want it to build for me. So I'm going to do something basic and say I want it to find all the latest AI services and see what is trending right now. So I'm going to click send, okay, and it's going to be thinking, and this just means that what it's actually doing, creating the crew in the background. And look, actually, it already did, right? Well, it's almost there. This crew assistant said it's going to give you the plan, the output, any inputs, any tools that may need to be used. Here are the agents that's going to create to do this and tasks. So what you can see is there's actually 3 tasks, but only 2 agents. And it's going to tell you which one it's going to assign the task to. So the trend search agent is going to have 2 tasks, and then the data analyst agent is going to have 1. Then it asks you, does this plan align with your goals, or is there anything else you'd like to adjust or add? All right, I said I also want to save this locally to a file in an outline, and it's going to update. It's going to update this whole plan that it has to create the crew for me. Okay, and listen to me, right? It now has a file read tool, a different tool, another agent, and another task to accomplish this. I can still, adjust this more, but for now, I'm good with this. So this button came up, generate crew plan. Let's click that now. And again, I really can't say how powerful this feature is of CrewAI Enterprise. Like if we just had this alone, that would probably be enough. All right, so now it says here is the plan for the crew. You can actually edit the plan by clicking on the cell. So we have the 3 agents. I can actually come in here and modify. If I wanted to modify this, I could. I could change that if I wanted to. If I wanted to change the backstory to one of the agents, if I wanted to change the expected output, I could do that as well. I'm not going to change anything for now, but I just want to let you know that you can still modify it here if you want to. So then we're just going to go ahead and click generate crew. And so that took probably 10 to 15 seconds. And now what it did, it created a node kind of graph of how this is working. So we're going to start with the perform web searching. It's going to give that to the next agent, and then that's finally going to give it to the file saver to actually save the data to a file. Then at the top here, right, you can see we can either deploy the crew or download the code. So you can actually download the code here, and it's going to give you a zip file of the crew that we just created, and you can actually use locally on your machine. Or we can click deploy crew. Let's do that now. It says crew deployment initiated. The first deploy, it's saying it could take up 10 minutes. It generally never takes 10 minutes, but it can take a couple minutes. And what it's doing is it's setting up your crew that you can run. And again, this isn't on your machine, right? So building images for your crew might be Docker images, I'm not sure, but it's generating this for you so that you can run from CrewAI Enterprise. You don't have to have this running on your local machine. Now, while this is happening, there are a few things that we need to take care of in order to actually make this work when we run it. The first thing is, use a tool called Serper Dev Tool, which means that we do need to have a Serper Dev API key. Now, I actually use this tool in my CrewAI 8-day series, but in order to make that happen here, we have to go to the Environment Variables tab. Now here, I already have it set up. I already have my Serper API key, and I actually already have my OpenAI API key. Now, you don't have to use OpenAI API key here. You can use other, other providers. I'll get to that in a minute. But here's where you would add in your key. So I could say some key. I would give the value here, whatever that may be. And if I then choose Save Variables, now this environment variable, just like you would save locally in a .env file, will be saved here. So whenever you run the crew, it's going to come here and make sure that you have that specific key for the tool that's being used, or for your connection, such as OpenAI or Google Gemini. Which leads me into the next part, the LLM Connections. So under the LLM Connections over here, what we need to do is give it another LLM connection, such as OpenAI, which is what I'm going to use this as an example of. In order to do that, we just have to create a new connection. So I already have two here, 4.0 mini and just one called OpenAI. Let's call this one OpenAI 4.0, just to make sure we're using that model. So the provider then, as you can see right now, they have OpenAI, Azure, Anthropic, Cerberus, Gemini, there's a bunch of here, right? So I'm going to choose OpenAI. And then here I can actually select which model from OpenAI that I want to use. So I'm going to say GPT-4o, and I am going to say add connection. And then I would go back to my environment variables and make sure that I have an OpenAI API key here. Now, you could add another key there as well when we were creating the connection, but it's going to check to make sure that you have this OpenAI API key. So you could go ahead and add that here. Now, one more thing is maybe you want to make sure you have the default connection that you want to use for, at least the crews that you're using right now. How do we do that? Well, if we go to settings, this is something else I'm going to talk about in just a minute, but if you go to defaults, what you need to do is under the default LLM connection, you're going to choose whichever one you want. So I'm going to choose the OpenAI-4o. That's the one we just created. The model, I only had one model selected with it. So here I'm going to have it choose the 4.0 model. And then for the Crew Studio LLM settings, I'm going to do the same thing. Actually, you know what? I have the mini. I'm going to choose the mini model for that. Okay. And what this means is this is the LLM connection that will be used across all Crew Studio chat sessions. Right now, it does only support OpenAI providers, but I'm sure they're going to add more as time goes on. And while I'm still waiting for the crew to be done, there are two more things that I really want to talk to you about before we test this out. Okay, we'll come back to here, I promise. If you go to integrations on the sidebar, right now there are three. There's Slack, HubSpot, and Zapier. I've already connected my HubSpot account. So what that means is that if I were to create a crew just about HubSpot, maybe I just wanted to know how many contacts or maybe who is most engaged. There's many things you can do with HubSpot, right? But with this connection, I can create a crew with HubSpot or with Slack, or here with Zapier, you can trigger crews and automate workflows with them, right? And Zapier is huge, so that would be a great integration to have with your crew. And then they have templates, right? And this is something that I want to talk about for just a minute and give you my thoughts on this. This is a private template repository that is created just from the CrewAI team, at least for now. And a lot of these are kind of leaning towards like sales, marketing, that kind of thing for now, right? Again, this is a new product, but you can either from here deploy the crew on CrewAI Enterprise, or you can download the crew and run it locally. And it also tells you, for instance, here you need a Serper API and an OpenAI key. Here for Zendesk, you need to get the domain, the subdomain, email, API token, and also OpenAI's API. So it's kind of telling you what you need in order to run this. So you can either download it, run locally, or deploy the crew like we're already doing with the one we created from Crew Studio and use it from CrewAI Enterprise. Now, some of you may be thinking, well, will we be able to create our own crew, put that here as a template for other people to use? And maybe in the future, but my thoughts on that are is if you just let everybody create a template and upload it, then it kind of comes bogged down, and there's probably only going to be a few good ones out of hundreds that are possible. And everybody's going to create, a lot of people are going to create the same thing. And then does it really become a good repository to download or deploy template crews from these templates from? I'm not sure what the right answer is, but I think for the way this is set up now, it's nice and clean, and it probably should just stay as a private repository that the CrewAI team makes. And look at that, the crew is done. Now what we do is you click the manage icon. I've already kind of tested this a few times, but there's a trigger crew right here under waiting execution. This looks like a Kanban board, right? They're just like 3 sections. So we want to trigger the crew. We want to launch a new crew from the one we just created, right? We're going to create crew. And there doesn't need to be, in this one it's saying there's no inputs, but we don't need inputs here. The agents aren't asking for anything. The agents, or the tasks aren't asking for anything. The agents aren't. So this is fine. So it's waiting the execution. It started, and now it's running. We're going to give this, we're going to give this maybe 30 seconds to a minute. And once that's done, then we can see the output and we can go into the metrics of everything I've done so far. But I opened it up and see it finished task 1, task 2, and the third one is pending. And what you do sometimes, you just kind of refresh this, so it's still pending the third task, right? It's not completed yet. Okay, so it finished, and then whenever you click on it, you can see it, we didn't provide any inputs, but it has basic metrics, probably a successful request. There's probably 7 requests from Serper API Dev to get the latest stuff on AI. And if you come down here, this is what the last output from the last agent was, because it was going to save to a file. So it created Markdown that it would use to save to a file. So this was its output. And this is great, right? That it created the crew for me. I just triggered the crew and it generated this output. I mean, no code at all, nothing whatsoever. I just talked to it like you would kind of ChatGPT, except it was specified for Crew Assistant, and it did all this for us. I mean, absolutely amazing things. So if you go back to the crew section, and then I choose the crew that we just created, I'm going to click on this, you can go over to the metrics tab, and now this kind of provides more in-depth detail about this crew. So there were a total of 4 executions. This is how many total prompt tokens were used. That's not the inference, this was the prompt tokens. The average execution time was 27 seconds. And then the average prompt tokens per execution was, about 3,800. So yes, I think this is an amazing product, and you should use it, at least the basic version, to just get an idea of how this makes your life easier, or how it will make your life better. And if you're somebody that doesn't really know how to code, or is not really interested, right? It's not even about knowing, because you can learn it. It's about if you're interested or not, or if you have the time to. This product is for you. I am on the free plan. There are other plans that are paid. If you decide to go further than the free plan, I do have an affiliate link in the description below that you can use. And I want to share with you that I just opened up a school community where everybody that's interested in AI agents, automation, services, and learning about CrewAI, this is the place for you. I'm here to teach you more in depth, where we have coffee hours, live sessions, and it will just be a community of people that can share ideas. We can figure things out together. We can create new things and do anything that you can think of. In the meantime, here's some more videos. I'll see you next one.